Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Excuse me. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who has joined us here on our program today. Early this morning at 3:15 a.m., a truck ran into a crowd of people in New Orleans. The driver of the truck plowed into a crowd that killed at least 15 people at 3:15 a.m. this morning. The driver has been identified as a United States citizen, Shamsud, S-H-A-M-S-U-D, Dean, D-I-N, Jabbar. Shamsud Jabbar, 42 years of age. His vehicle, a white pickup truck with the ISIS black flag attached to the back of his truck. At the outset of this incident, the New Orleans police chief said this was a terrorist event. The FBI, who was asked to participate, said no, it was not a terrorist attack, and they have now ran back that statement. They are now saying it was a terrorist event. The FBI is seeking out at least 4 other suspected individuals who fled the scene. New Orleans officials were going to host the Sugar Bowl football game in New Orleans Superdome Stadium this afternoon and postponed that game to at least Thursday, out of an abundance of caution, just in case what happened this morning might have been related to another attack at the football game. The FBI, Homeland Security, New Orleans Police, and Jefferson County Sheriff are going to help protect that football game on Thursday. Already things are ramping up, preparations are ramping up to protect that football game. Now, this may have been a connection. There may have been another connection here. Okay? They're not sure what happened exactly. This is still an ongoing investigation. Now, while this investigation is ongoing, the police and FBI are searching for clues and ask the public's assistance if anyone has seen or anything or knows anything about what happened this morning. The suspect again, Shamsud Dean Jabbar, a United States citizen, obtained his truck out of Mexico. The truck was out of Mexico and it was an electronic truck. This was an electric vehicle out of Mexico. It came through out of Mexico into the United States at Eagle Pass, Texas, right after the November election. Law enforcement are now working to find out what exactly has happened. Now, there's also been one other event today, earlier this morning. The other event is a very suspicious event. It involved a Tesla truck loaded with explosives. One person is dead and 7 others are hurt after the Tesla Cybertruck caught fire and exploded near the covered entrance of the Trump International Hotel in Vegas this morning. Now, we're not sure what happened. Nobody's sure what happened. This again is under investigation. The Cybertruck was under the entrance, underneath the hanging entrance of the Trump International Hotel in Vegas. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Sheriff Kevin McHill told a press conference earlier. He said a person was inside the Cybertruck and died, and 7 people sustained injuries, minor injuries at the time. Now, he said this does not appear to be any further threat to our community in Las Vegas right now. This incident came just hours after 15 people survived a terror attack, succumbed to a terror attack in New Orleans involving that truck out of Mexico. This is prompting increased scrutiny from law enforcement in Las Vegas. McNeil is saying we're very concerned about what has happened in New Orleans. And with that event that occurred there and the number of victims there and the additional IEDs, by the way, there were IEDs involved. Okay? IEDs involved. Explosive devices. Okay? Now, as you can imagine, with the explosion in front of the Trump International Hotel in Vegas, they're taking all the precautions that they need to take to keep the community safe. Again, the public is being asked to stay away from the hotel, which has been evacuated. Investigators said all the guests have moved to nearby Resorts World Hotel in Vegas. Colette Robertson from Orlando, Florida, said she was in the hotel on the 38th floor of the Trump International Hotel this morning when she heard explosions from below. All we could see was pluming smoke coming from outside. Robertson said she was standing on the Las Vegas Strip near where police had set up a roadblock. We are worried. Robertson said she headed downstairs to investigate what had happened after she heard the explosion and saw smoke coming from the entrance to the hotel. The Cybertruck was parked underneath or just in front of the hotel's front doors. She and other guests were evacuated from the hotel about an hour later. She said she and her party were supposed to fly out at 2:30 this afternoon. Shortly before noon Pacific time, she was pointing out that her luggage and a rental car were still at the hotel. I don't know what is supposed to happen. Trump Tower in Las Vegas said the safety and well-being of our guests and staff remain our top priority. We are extending our gratitude to the Las Vegas Fire Department and local law enforcement for their swift response. Now I want to show you some videos here. I want to show you some videos of what happened. Okay? We're going to start in New Orleans. Okay, this is what it looked like just down the street from where that truck was parked after it ran into a crowd of people in New Orleans. Let's go over to the news conference that's being held in New Orleans.
To come. We've got the Sugar Bowl down there in New Orleans. A lot of concern about security now with that. I don't blame people for being concerned based on what happened. There's not a high likelihood of confidence in the ability to keep people safe down there right now. And I can tell you, officials are certainly going to be making enhancements to their plans down there. And they may actually get some help from the federal government to make sure that that site is going to be properly secured and that we can't have a repeat of what happened last night.
Absolutely.
Early this morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like they are getting ready here for this news conference. If you can, please stand by, and I would love to chat with you right after here, because it looks like they're about to get going, and we will talk with you right on the other side of this, okay?
I'll listen in. Thanks.
Thank you for being here today and for your patience. First, I want to acknowledge that the FBI and our partners are working diligently to investigate and find answers to residents of Louisiana and everyone visiting the city. I'm going to provide you some facts and information about what we do know. I know that all of you will have questions, and we will try to provide some answers. But this is an ongoing investigation that's rapidly evolving. So there are some questions I will be unable to answer at this time. The FBI is the lead investigative agency, and we're investigating this as an attack of terrorism along with our partners. Today at approximately 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, an individual drove a pickup truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, killing at least 10 individuals and injuring dozens more.
That number's been upgraded to, I shouldn't even use that upgraded word. The number of people been killed is now 15.
After hitting the crowd, he exited the vehicle and fired upon local law enforcement. Law enforcement returned fire and the subject was pronounced deceased at the scene. 2 law enforcement officers were injured and transported to local hospitals. The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Samsud Dim Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen from Texas. He was driving dozens more. After hitting the crowd, he exited the vehicle and fired upon local law enforcement. Law enforcement returned fire and the subject was pronounced deceased at the scene. 2 law enforcement officers were injured and transported to local hospitals. The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Samsud Dim Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen from Texas. He was driving a Ford pickup truck, which appears to be rented, and we are working to confirm how the subject became in possession of this vehicle. An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations. Weapons and potential improvised explosive devices, IEDs, were located in the subject's vehicle. Other potential IEDs were also located in the French Quarter. Aggressively running down all of the leads to identify the possible subject's associates. We're working to ensure that there is no further threat. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates. That's why we need the public's help. We are asking if anybody has any interactions with Samsud Dim Jabbar in the last 72 hours that you contact us. The FBI is asking the public's help. We're asking anyone who has information, video, or pictures to provide it to the FBI. We have set up a digital tip line as well as our 1-800 number, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Please provide us with any information that can assist us in this investigation. Once again, thank you for your patience and assistance. For an updated statements or information, please check the FBI's website and our social media accounts. I will now turn over to Mayor Cantrell. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Agent Duncan, for your leadership and the full support of the FBI. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest condolences to the families and loved ones that were impacted by this tragedy on Bourbon Street and in the heart of the city of New Orleans. And I know that the entire New Orleans City Council grieves along right with me, no doubt about that, and our people and our families. My priority will continue to be to ensure that victims that remain on Bourbon Street now will be serviced and removed as soon as possible, but necessary to make this happen. I also want to acknowledge hearing from President Biden, all of our federal partners, but most importantly, calling Governor Landry this morning, responded with haste, and we do say thank you. And of course, a demonstration of a unified support is right here in this room. That's how we collectively responded to this tragedy in the city of New Orleans. The mission now is to facilitate, support, and coordinate safety procedures to keep our residents and our visitors safe. I've gone to the hospital along with Chief Kirkpatrick to visit our police officers, and considering their injuries, they're doing well. As I mentioned, this investigation is ongoing, and the FBI remains the lead in the investigation. It is an active crime scene as well. We are committed, no doubt, to uncovering all details surrounding this tragedy. And we're taking every necessary step to put even more safety procedures in place, especially given the nature of the investigation. I'm going to ask people to do not go around our secured area if there is no essential need to do so. It matters, and again, it is an active crime scene. I also want you all to know that the Greater New Orleans Foundation has set up a fund to assist victims, and that information will be provided to you. Thank you, Ganoff. Again, I want this unified team. We're leaning in. We will be relentless, and we will do everything that it takes to render real justice. This team will. I want to also just thank our citizens for your heartfelt prayers. New Orleans is a world-class city, and I can say that I've heard from world leaders all this morning and up until now, in addition to my brother and sister mayors across this country. They're calling, they're responding, and they're standing with the city of New Orleans. And what they always say and want me to reiterate, they understand the resilience of this community. And we're strong in that regard, and I will say second to none. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our governor, and as I mentioned, who has not wavered any in leaning in, providing the necessary support, and standing with me, and I say thank you, Governor. And I know the First Lady is standing with us as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Again, I want to thank the Mayor. Since about 3:45 this morning, when she called me, we have all been working just around the clock to both secure the city and to solve this act. You know, again, I want to reiterate that our prayers go out with all of those who have been affected by this tragedy. I want to thank our law enforcement officers. I want to thank our medical personnel. I want to thank our first responders. And most importantly, I want to thank the two New Orleans police officers who not only laid their life on the line, but were able to eliminate the threat this morning. Let me say, we have made public safety a state priority from day one. And I think that if you look around me today, right now, and you look at the people who are standing around, that is their commitment as well. We intend to be transparent in assessing any defects that may have existed in the system so that we can address it. It's the only way to ensure that any mistakes that were made are corrected. Specifically, we have been trying and working very diligently to address security concerns in preparation for the Super Bowl since October. And it's interesting because, ironically, in preparation for the Super Bowl, I had intended to issue an emergency declaration tomorrow so that we could bring all of our federal, state, and local agencies to bear in preparation for the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras. But because of the events today, I have amended that emergency declaration and issued it today. So again, that declaration will allow our federal, state, and local partners to bring all of the resources necessary to get this city safe. In light of that executive order, I've also ordered the mobilization of a military police company. I've asked General Freelou to mobilize a military police company to assist both New Orleans Police and LSP and the FBI. It is important for our citizens and guests of this state to know that we are doing everything we can to secure their safety in this city. We want to make it clear, the Superdome and the surrounding area is safe. But I've always said that the safety of this entire city is something that is always paramount to me. With that, I would like to turn it over to Jeff with the Super Bowl committee. Jeff Duncan.
Good afternoon. Obviously, we wish we weren't here for this reason today. The Sugar Bowl Committee has a 90-year history of being a good corporate citizen for the city of New Orleans, and that's why this tragedy hurts us as much as anybody right now. So our condolences, thoughts, and prayers go out to the victims and their families as we all work through this. Of course, anytime we have a major event in the city of New Orleans, public safety is paramount, and we have full faith and confidence in the governor and the mayor and all the assets, the federal, state, and local resources that they've applied to this event so that we can ultimately bring those responsible to justice and carry on with the major events that we have in front of us. Speaking of which, we were scheduled this evening to have a CFP quarterfinal played in the Superdome at 7:45. We have been in consultation with ESPN, with the College Football Playoff, with the Southeastern Conference, with the University of Georgia, with Notre Dame. All parties and all agree that it's in the best interest of everybody and public safety that we postpone the game for 24 hours. Work is fast about to set up a safe and efficient and fun environment for tomorrow night. There'll be more details on that in the coming hours, but for now, that's the plan, that we're going to move forward and play the game. And again, we reiterate our thanks to everyone up here for the important work they're doing. We live in the fun and games world with what we do, but we certainly recognize the importance of this, and we're going to support it 100%. So thank you.
I'd like to bring up Senator Kennedy.
Okay, this is the United States Senator Kennedy that we've seen in other videos during the past 2 years on this program. Please pay close attention to what Senator Kennedy says.
I wish I understood better why bad things happen to good people. If I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. For those people who don't believe in objective evil, all you have to do is look at what happened in our city early this morning. I am, if this doesn't trigger the gag reflex of every American, every fair-minded American, I'll be very surprised. I'm here because these are my people. I'm here because these are my people's friends. I'm here because there are a lot of Louisianians that are scared tonight. I don't want them to be. There's a lot of information going around. Some of it is actually true. Some of it isn't. The federal government is now in charge of this investigation. By that I mean the White House, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Justice. I have not talked to the FBI. Maybe they've talked to my staff. I don't know. I did talk to the Secretary of Homeland Security a little while ago. And I told him that with all the respect I could muster, that we expect to put the full force and resources of the federal government behind this investigation. Our state troopers, our local police departments, our sheriffs, we've got many sheriffs here today, have been terrific so far. The federal government is cooperating with them. I hope that will continue. Here's what I want to ask from the federal government. Catch these people. Catch these people. And then tell the American people the truth. Now, I don't want you to tell us yet anything is going to interfere with your investigation. And there are things that I've been told that I think are true that I'm not sharing with you today because it could interfere with their investigation. But after we get to the bottom of this, they need to tell the American people the truth. And the people of New Orleans the truth. And the people of America the truth. I think the mayor and the governor are very wise to postpone this ball game for 24 hours. There's just too much stuff we don't know, and it's just not worth it. But I guess my final point is, I will promise you this: I will, when it is appropriate and this investigation is complete, you will find out what happened and who was responsible, or I will raise fresh hell, and I will chase those in the federal government who are responsible for telling us what happened, like they stole Christmas.
Okay, notice what he said. He urged the federal government, the FBI, that they needed to be truthful, to tell the truth. Senator Kennedy has been one who has not allowed the FBI to get away with anything during the last year. Representatives of the FBI testified before Congress about President Trump's shooting, and they lied. They absolutely lied. Senator Kennedy is now urging the FBI, you need to tell the truth or I'm going to raise holy hell. And you will wish that your Christmas had not happened. Senator Kennedy wants the truth, and we deserve to know the truth as well. Do I trust the FBI? Not at all. Do I trust the FBI? Not at all. And I want to make that point perfectly clear. The FBI has not given us any reason during the past year to trust them. Neither the director of the FBI that resigned, nor her counterparts that took over in her stead. The acting director, Ron Rowland, is worthless, and his assistant is also worthless. They've done nothing but lie, and the FBI has lied about a lot of things over the past years. This time, I hope they tell the damn truth. Now, I understand that the FBI was under the thumb of Joseph Biden, and they were trying to protect Joseph Biden. They were also doing Joseph Biden's bidding. Yes, this occurred during Joseph Biden's watch. Now, with that said, they better tell us the truth or we all will raise holy hell. I'm just saying. I've worked with the FBI on a couple different cases in the past. I trusted the agents I used to work with on several cases. I had to trust them. Those agents did not give me any reason not to trust them. But as of late, the FBI has been worthless. The FBI has been worthless. And I'm telling you the truth. Now, the other event that happened today was in Las Vegas. I want to give you an update about what happened in Las Vegas. I'm going to go to the sheriff in Clark County for this update.
Anticipate later this afternoon to give you much more information on what we are finding out in this investigation. But obviously, a Cybertruck, the Trump Hotel, there's lots of questions that we have to answer as we move forward. With that, I will tell you that our entire law enforcement, first responder community is here and present and working on all of the issues that we have here, one of which is the FBI. I'm going to turn that over to ASAC Jeremy Schwartz to give a couple of comments, and then immediately after that, Deputy Chief Tommy Touchstone from the Clark County Fire Department to give you a couple updates as well. Jeremy?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeremy Schwartz, currently the acting special agent in charge for the FBI here in Las Vegas. First and foremost, I just want to say, our hearts and prayers go out to the community. Even though there's only one deceased victim at this time, something like this happens in the city, and it has an effect on our people here in the community. So we recognize that, and we're here to do everything that we can to support this investigation, to jump on board with our Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department partners, which we've already done. I know you're looking for a lot of answers, and ideally right now we just don't have a lot of answers. We're going to continue to work as hard as we can over the next 24 to 48 hours to hopefully get more to you. But this time we've got a lot of questions and deploying resources, and we will continue to do that until we get to the end of this and figure out exactly what happened and why.
Good morning. Thomas Touchstone, Deputy Fire Chief of the Clark County Fire Department. The Clark County Fire Department responded this morning along with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and Las Vegas Fire and Rescue. We had a response time of approximately 4 minutes. Engine 12 arrived first on pulling tack lines to extinguish the vehicle fire, and also realized at the same time that there were multiple persons with injuries located around the vehicle. In total, as the sheriff said, there were 7 minor injuries, 2 of which were transported to UMC, again for minor injuries. And there is 1 fatality within the Cybertruck. CCFD's remaining on scene in coordination with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue and Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to continue to render the scene safe, to make sure that the Cybertruck is fully extinguished as it is now, and then also to recover the victim from the vehicle. And we'll remain on scene assisting Metro as long as possible. That's all I have. Thank you.
I would also just like to add, I'd like the community to please stay away from the area for right now, because we don't know what we don't. Resort partners, as you can imagine, we have had to evacuate the hotel. The vast majority of the people that were staying in the hotel have moved over to the resorts world. I'd like to thank them for their graciousness in hosting these individuals that are also victims in this as well. We'll have another, we'll let you know when the next press conference is going to be with a whole lot more information for you. But until then, I just want to remind the community we believe everything is safe now. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right now, at this time, everything is safe in front of the Trump International Hotel in Vegas. With that said, I still believe there's a lot more to be said, and so does the FBI, and so does Clark County Sheriff's Office and Las Vegas Metro Police. Now, does anybody have any questions? I have some answers. I don't have everything. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know Arnold mentioned a few minutes ago that there are high levels of sulfur dioxide in the upper atmosphere around the world. NASA's been working on that information as well. There have been multiple volcanoes that have erupted around the world, especially down in Indonesia. That is one of the reasons those high SO2 levels have been as high as they are. The other reason is because the volcanoes in Washington State and Oregon have been outputting high levels of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide as well. Again, these volcanoes that I speak of, Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and some of the other volcanoes, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are getting ready to erupt. Some of the other volcanoes are not getting ready to erupt, but are steaming. They're steaming. Now, some of you that are new to this program may not know this. I want to show you why those volcanoes are steaming and what it means and how does it happen. At the top of every volcano, there is a volcanic rock. Huge monster volcanic rock. Magma but comes from underneath underneath that rock like this in the magma chamber of the volcano. It hammers away at that rock. Hammers and hammers and hammers away at that rock. The magma there is under pressure. All kinds of pressure. Now, what is going on? When that volcanic rock is hammered by the magma in the magma chamber in the volcano, under pressure, that volcanic rock at the summit of the volcano develops cracks in it. The pressure of the magma from underneath is causing cracks in the summit rock of the volcano, the plug. Every volcano has a volcanic rock plug from the last time that the volcano erupted. It left lava in the top of the volcano, and that lava hardens into a great big huge rock. The magma hammers at that rock until that rock develops cracks in it. Then, you need to also know that 6 to 7% of 6 to 7% of all magma is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. So what happens when that magma hammers away at that rock? All that magma is very hot, isn't it? 2,500 degrees hot. 2,500 degrees hot. So the water that's in that magma is boiling, isn't it? What happens when water boils? It emits steam, doesn't it? In this case, the magma in the ground emits steam from the boiling off of the water. That steam forces its way through the rock like this. It forces its way through those cracks in the rock just like this. That hot steam then enlarges those cracks. This is a physics lesson. Hot steam enlarges anything it goes through. In this case, that hot steam enlarges those cracks in the volcanic plug. What happens when this continues over a period of time? What do you think happens when this continues for a period of time? That lava plug explodes. That lava plug explodes, and that's when you get a volcanic eruption. That's what's happening now. We've seen steam coming from Mount Rainier. We've seen steam coming from Mount St. Helens. A large amount of steam. Not small amounts, but large amounts of steam. Mount Hood, Glacier Peak, Mount Baker up at the Canadian border, just south of Canada, is steaming. Sisters volcanoes, there's 3 of them. Sisters volcanoes, there's 3 of them in that complex. All 3 of those volcanoes are steaming. Newberry volcano is steaming. Crater Lake is covered by a lake. The Crater Lake volcano is covered by a lake. That volcano is also steaming, and that steam is released through the water. If anybody gets near the top of that water, you see bubbles. Those bubbles have sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide in those bubbles. Every volcano is steaming. The steaming does not just occur in Washington and Oregon volcanoes. Steam is also coming from Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen. Hurricane Heather, who is a dear friend of mine, who's here in the chat, one of my mods here, has seen Shasta steaming. I know for a fact that Mount Lassen is also steaming. Tomorrow night I'll show you seismograms showing you what's happening at some of these volcanoes. There have been steam signals on the seismograms at Mount Lassen. And I've been told by people that live around Mount Lassen that there's a large amount of steam being emitted from Mount Lassen. And there are a bunch of earthquakes that are hitting Mount Lassen as well. That happens when the volcanoes are getting ready to erupt. Mount Lassen has not erupted since 1917, over 100 years ago. over 100 years ago, 108 years ago. It's getting ready to erupt. Mount St. Helens has not erupted since 2003. Before that 2003 eruption was just a minor eruption. Mount St. Helens erupted in fury in 1989. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt again. It's been many years, I think 200 plus years since Mount Rainier erupted. It's getting ready to erupt. This is going to happen. It's going to happen. These volcanoes are emitting steam containing sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, that happens. No, Hurricane Heather, you're not in trouble. You heard my name and I was using it in very much love. Hurricane Heather is a wonderful lady. She gives us a lot of great information on weather and everything else. She's been my right-hand person when it comes to Mount Shasta over the years. She lives below Mount Shasta. She sees what's going on. Now, there are high levels of SO2, sulfur dioxide, and CO2, carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Okay? That's why. There are volcanoes around the world that are erupting right now. In fact, tomorrow I'll give you a list of all those volcanoes that are erupting. Luotolo over in Indonesia is erupting. Mount Ibu is erupting over in Indonesia. And many other volcanoes such as Dukono are erupting. Now, this is not going to end. This is not going to end. This is only the beginning. I guarantee you it's only the beginning. When are they going to erupt? I don't know. That's almost anybody's guess. But I'm telling you they're going to erupt, and we need to watch what's going on. We need to watch what's going on and be prepared as well. Now, there are other volcanoes also going to erupt. There is a seamount, an undersea volcano that's also connected to Mount St. Helens. It's been steaming below the surface of the ocean. It's been emitting steam, and USGS has also connected a camera watching the steam erupt from the volcano. Now, when that happens, as with all the other volcanoes, at some point in time, the steam the lava plug is in the top of that volcano below the ocean bottom. At some point in time, that steam being emitted from that undersea volcano is going to crack that lava plug in that volcano. And that volcano beneath the surface of the ocean is going to erupt. And I believe it's going to happen fairly soon. Okay? I believe it's going to happen fairly soon. Now, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay? You're not going to get this information from the USGS. They're not talking. The only reason we're getting information from that volcano camera is because USGS has it online. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know about it. USGS has been very secretive about everything, as they are about whatever's going on around the world. Even on their own website, they're saying they don't cover everything around the world. No, they don't. But they are covering even less than they ever have. Because they do not want to take responsibility for anything going on. Heaven forbid people know what's going on, so they can save themselves and save their families from destruction. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Mark says they're bad buffering. I'm sorry about that. I have a great bandwidth here. I pay dearly every month for my bandwidth to produce this program. My bandwidth is very, very good, so it's not my computer doing this. It's USBS. That's YouTube. When I start talking about what's going on with the volcanoes, the earthquakes around the globe, I start getting buffered. YouTube and USBS work together. Okay? They do. The FBI, together with Biden over the past 4 years, has hammered on YouTube and the other social media outlets, telling them not to allow people to talk, not to allow anyone to give the information that they should. YouTube has hammered away at me on my last channel. As I said, I've been on the air now five and a half plus years, going on 6 in April. With that said, they took my last channel down over a year and a half ago. So far, they haven't messed with this channel. I hope the heck they won't do it, because I will sue the crap out of them this time. I will sue the crap out of YouTube. I've already notified Elon Musk, and he says he's taking care of it. That he and President Trump are taking care of it. And I believe that. But folks, I promise you that I will tell the truth to you and give you the information as soon as I possibly can about what's going on in our world. Just like I waited till this afternoon to tell you about what's going on what happened in New Orleans and what happened this morning in front of the Trump International Hotel. I don't come on the air like some news media outlets do as soon as something happens. I wait until I gather my information. I'm a police officer by heart. I spent 25 years in service to my country, 24 years in service to my country in law enforcement. I don't reveal information until I have all the information. Now, there is some information that I have and that other agencies have that they're not putting out right now. But as soon as I possibly can, I will give you that information, I promise you. Okay? Mark says the power of volcanic eruption is truly frightening. You're absolutely right. It really is. When I saw Mount St. Helens in 1980 erupting, I was blown away. I've watched the eruption of many volcanoes over the years, including Hunga Pai volcano over in Tonga. That volcano was the highest erupting volcano in history. The steam and ash cloud from Hunga Pai volcano in Tonga went up above the stratosphere. It got caught in the jet stream and went around the world 3 times. 3 times. Hunga Pai volcano was part of an island there in Tonga. The island was blown apart by the force of that volcano. We also watched the volcano over in Kamchatka Peninsula years ago. About a year after I'd been broadcasting, that volcano lit up. When that volcano lit up, USGS denied it. They called me a fraud, but I stuck by my guns. That volcano erupted. That volcano erupted up to 85,000 feet high. Also one of the highest eruptions in our history, in our written history. At the time, USBS finally admitted what was going on. The ash from that volcano was already over Alaska. 3 days after that volcano erupted, Shivelish volcano erupted, the ash from that volcano was already over Alaska. And only then did they admit what was going on. That's what the United States Geological Survey does. They do not admit anything until they are forced to admit it by the evidence. Michael Kearney is asking, what was the eruption between 1520 and 1530? I believe it was Mount Etna. It was either Mount Etna or that volcano over in Italy, over in west central Italy that erupted. I don't remember the name of that. One of those two volcanoes erupted about that time. Anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy. No, not Krakatoa. Krakatau is down in Indonesia, over near Java, West Java, Indonesia. In fact, it's between West Java and what's it called? There's a big island over in northwestern Indonesia. And right now, it just off the top of my head. But right between West Java and that big island in Indonesia is where Krakatau is located. Yes, that has erupted recently, but that's not the eruption I was thinking about. And yes, that was a huge eruption as well back in the day. Okay, but that happens. And when these volcanoes erupt, we get the SO2 and CO2 in the high parts of the atmosphere. Okay, that happens. That happens. Any other questions? Vesuvius. Vesuvius erupted about that same time period, I believe. Okay? Now, there have been some earthquakes. There have been some earthquakes that we probably ought to talk about today. Let me bring up the USGS map here. First off, over here in northwestern New York, up near the border with Canada, we had a 2.4 earthquake here. Okay? This was a 2.4 minor earthquake. This happened just before 1 a.m. this morning. Just before 1 a.m. this morning. Let me get rid of my webcam here so you can see these maps without any interruption. That was a minor 2.4 earthquake over here in northwestern New York this morning. 0057 a.m. this morning, just before 1 a.m. Another earthquake here in the central United States. This was in Nebraska. Nebraska does not get that many earthquakes. This is a 3.0 small earthquake. This is a 3.0 small earthquake. Let's zoom in here and take a look at where this earthquake happened. They said it was 2 miles south-southwest of Brownlee, Nebraska. Okay? Now, Nebraska is north of Oklahoma. Oklahoma has 586,000 oil and gas pumps and jacks. It appears that this area is not anywhere near those pumps and jacks. And yes, there may be some oil and gas operations here in Nebraska, but, well, it appears that there may be an oil and gas pumping operation here where you see that roadway here, okay? That may be an oil and gas pumping operation there. If that's the case, this may full well be an oil and gas earthquake. Okay? I don't see much else that could have caused this earthquake except ice settling. Okay? When there gets to be very low temperatures, sometimes we get ice quakes. Sometimes we get ice quakes. Okay? I don't see any other reason that we would have gotten a 3.0 over here in Brownlee, Nebraska. Okay? But I will investigate and see what is going on there in Brownlee, Nebraska. Okay? Further northwest here. This is Helena Valley, Montana. This is a 3.1 small earthquake in Montana. Folks, what you need to know about this earthquake is this is in the Yellowstone magma chamber. The Yellowstone magma chamber goes all the way north to Canada. It goes all the way south to northern Utah. Northern Utah. It goes all the way west to Challis, Idaho. Okay? The Yellowstone magma chamber is 11 Grand Canyons in size. It's huge. This is a small earthquake at Helena, Montana. Okay? 29 kilometers east-northeast of Helena Valley, northeast Montana. Okay? Now, over here in Ashford, Washington, this is Mount Rainier here, just west of Mount Rainier. This is a 1.1 tremor just west of Mount Rainier. Again, there are dozens of earthquakes at Mount Rainier, and for Mount Rainier to only, or USBS to only show us one tremor is an exact lie. They are omitting information. They are lying to the public. To the south, they're not showing much of anything at all here at Mount St. Helens, nor Mount Adams to the east. Yet both those volcanoes have been steaming. Both these volcanoes have been steaming. Down here to Mount Hood, they're not showing anything here at Mount Hood either. Why not? Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. Now, off the coast of Oregon here, this is a 2.3 earthquake. Look where it's at. It's right next to the Cascadia subduction zone. Right next to the Cascadia subduction zone, 64 kilometers west of Newport, Oregon, about 50 miles west of Newport, Oregon, out here in the Pacific Ocean. One other earthquake, and we keep talking about earthquakes here. This is on the Blanco fracture zone. The Blanco fracture zone. This is also in the Cascade subduction zone region. The Cascadia subduction zone region. This is the Blanco fracture zone. This is a 3.2 earthquake. This is 222 kilometers west of Langlois, Oregon. 3.2 earthquake west of Langlois, Oregon, out here in the Pacific. That's a Blanco fracture zone that you see there. Okay? That is a semi-perpendicular line here that runs from southeast to northwest out here in the Pacific. On the northwest side, it connects with the Juan de Fuca plate. The Juan de Fuca plate you see here, that zigzag earthquake fault. To the south, the Blanco fracture zone connects with the Gorda Ridge. The Gorda Ridge here. To the south of the Gorda Ridge, it connects with what? The Gorda Escarpment. Down here in the western part of the Gorda Escarpment, we have another earthquake. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake here. West of there, on the San Andreas Fault. We have a 2.0 earthquake here. Southwest of there, this is a 1.7 tremor here. 1.7 tremor in the Mendocino Fault Zone. The Mendocino Fault Zone. Further east here, this is a 2.7 earthquake. Why is this important? This is a 2.7 earthquake, 1.5 miles east of Prattville, California. Why is this here? Folks, 2.5 years ago, we had a series of large earthquakes here. We had a series of large 5.1, 5.2, 5.5 earthquakes that hit here. This is an aftershock of that earthquake. Actually, those earthquakes. This 2.7 minor earthquake is an aftershock of that earthquake. This is also 1/4 mile deep. 1/4 mile deep here. Okay? That's why that earthquake hit here. Okay? Now, yes, you see some earthquakes over here in Northern California. Right now, I'm going to leave those alone. I'm going down here in Southern California to a brand new earthquake here. Actually, I'm sorry, this is Northern California. This is over at the Pinnacles, just south of Monterey Bay, on the San Andreas Fault. This is a 2.1 earthquake. A 2.1 earthquake. Now, I'm going to go out here in the Pacific. I want to talk about earthquakes here. Okay? Again, this is a 4.6 moderate earthquake. USGS calls these light earthquakes. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake. I don't care what USGS calls it. It doesn't matter anymore. This is 94 kilometers deep. We had a 7.2 earthquake here 2 weeks ago. We had a major 7.2, 7.4 earthquake here 2 weeks ago. This 4.6 is an aftershock of that 7.2, 7.4 earthquake that happened here 2 weeks ago. Let's go south here. This is Papua New Guinea. We've had many earthquakes here. Now we have a small cache of earthquakes here. This is out in the ocean waters over here in the Pacific. This is a large 4.9, 5.0 earthquake. Whenever I see a 4.9, I call it a large earthquake because what happens? USGS downgrades the earthquakes. USGS downgrades the earthquakes. They have this as a 4.9. It's probably a 5.0, 5.1 large earthquake. Right next to it. They're calling this a 5.0. This came out earlier this morning at 4:39 a.m. Eastern Time. This came out as a 5.0 earthquake. Or I'm sorry, this is now a 5.0 earthquake. It came out as a 5.3. 5.3 earthquake here. All these earthquakes here are out in the ocean. Nobody felt these earthquakes. The ocean waters absorb the shock waves of these quakes. This is a 5.1. Okay? 5.1 large earthquake. This is a 4.9, 5.0 again. So we've had 4 large earthquakes here today. This earthquake happened at 2:05 a.m. this morning, Eastern Time. We've had 4 large earthquakes here today. Yesterday we had 2 large earthquakes, one on the north side of Papua New Guinea here, near Rabaul, Papua New Guinea, and one on the south side over here near Kokopo, Indonesia. I'm sorry, Papua New Guinea. Kokopo, Papua New Guinea. Okay, that's what's happening here. Notice that the USGS is not taking any ideas for any earthquakes here. in Indonesia. They're not showing one. They're not showing any, which is a joke. This is a joke. In the past years, USGS would show us earthquakes here. Now they're not. They're not. That big island I was talking about over here in Indonesia is right here. It's Sumatra. I'm sorry. It is Sumatra, Indonesia here, this big island here. I talked about it because we were talking about Krakatau volcano down here. Krakatau volcano is right here. Krakatau volcano is right here. And Sumatra, for that matter, has several volcanoes up here. Okay, right here. There is a volcano right here that just erupted earlier this last year.
Location, Cap. Mentawai region, Indonesia, class flight, magnitude 4.1, 10 minutes ago.
4.1 earthquake happened 10 minutes ago here in Indonesia. But again, USGS is not going to show it. It's stupid. Over here in the Indian Ocean, this is a 4.7 earthquake here. This is on the Mid-Indian Ridge. The Mid-Indian Ridge that connects south of there with the Antarctic Ridge. Okay, this is a 4.7 earthquake here. Ethiopia is still having earthquakes. Last night after we got off the air, the first time, at just after 8 p.m., Ethiopia had more earthquakes here. Okay, this is a 5.0 earthquake here. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake here. This is another 4.6 earthquake here in Ethiopia. Again, there's a fault zone here. There's a fault zone here. There's also several volcanoes here as well. That's why these earthquakes hit. Look at this swarm of earthquakes here. Okay, I showed this 4.9, 5.0. This is a 4.8. This is a 4.4. This is a 4.6. This is a 4.5 earthquake. Swarms of earthquakes continue happening here in Indonesia. Iran. Minob, Iran. This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. There are other earthquakes over here in Afghanistan and Tajikistan they're not showing. There are all kinds of earthquakes over here in Turkey. The Turkey-Syria border region right here. There's 17 earthquakes here. The 17 earthquakes here are aftershocks of a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that hit here 11 months ago. February 3rd, 2024. Actually, it's been nearly 2 years. February 3rd, 2023. Okay? Major earthquake. That major earthquake, for those people that are new to this channel, opened up a huge long fissure, 14-mile long fissure. It was 8 stories deep. 14-mile long fissure, 8 stories deep here. That's what happens when you have a monster earthquake like that. It killed 5,000 plus people and injured over 5,000 more. Huge earthquake. Earthquakes all over Turkey and Syria today. Western Turkey, more earthquakes. 18 earthquakes over here in Greece. And south of there over in Crete, Greece as well. More earthquakes here in Italy. They're not showing them, are they? They never will. Earthquakes over in the Alps Mountains. Over in France. Southern Spain, they're not showing those earthquakes either. They're not showing the tremors over here in the Canary Islands. Why not? Why not? The USGS is asleep at the switch. Let's go south over here in the Atlantic Ocean. These are the South Sandwich Islands. This earthquake here happened at 8:48 a.m. this morning Eastern Time. This is a very strong 6.1 earthquake in the South Sandwich Islands. Heidi Petrick just gave us another $10 super chat. Thank you, Heidi. God bless you for that. We appreciate that greatly. Thanks so much, Heidi. A 6.1 earthquake here in the South Sandwich Islands and north of there. This is on the southern Mid-Atlantic Ridge. This is a 5.2 earthquake near Tristan da Cunha. Near Tristan da Cunha, out here in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, as I said before, the Mid-Atlantic Ocean is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Ocean is expanding. Heidi Petrick just gifted 5 EMA memberships to our followers here. Bailey was gifted a 1-month membership. Fireside Coffee was gifted a 1-month membership. Missouri Boat Ride. And Jim Suntory and Be Real Beast were gifted 1-month memberships here on YouTube. Thank you, Heidi. God bless you for that. You're a real jewel. Thank you so much, Heidi. That's awesome. Those of you that were just gifted memberships, please tell Heidi thank you. As I said before, memberships, you can gain a membership here on YouTube to our channel for as little as $1.99 a month. $2.99 for the B membership and $3.99 for the C membership. Okay? I kept the payloads low so people can afford to buy memberships to our channel. We appreciate that. Getting back to the Mid-Atlantic Ocean. The Mid-Atlantic plate is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic plate is expanding. Let me turn on my webcam so I can explain this. The Mid-Atlantic plate is expanding. Okay, it's going like this. It's pushing Africa, South America, it's pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. To the west, it's pushing South America, North America, and Greenland in a west-southwesterly direction. It's expanding from the Mid-Atlantic, like this. Huge expansion. That's why we're getting earthquakes in Africa. That's one of the reasons why we're getting more and more earthquakes in Europe. It's one of the reasons we see more and more earthquakes on the east coast of the United States and Canada. And yet USGS refuses to acknowledge that there are earthquakes happening on the east coast of North America. They don't show them. Maybe on Friday I'll show you the earthquakes on the east coast. It's incredible. Now, there are between 950 to 1,000, 1,100 earthquakes around the world every day. The USGS is only saying that there are 262 earthquakes worldwide. They are lying through their proverbial teeth. It's incredible. It's incredible. But that's what's happening. They're not showing any other earthquakes anywhere here. They're showing earthquakes over in South America, but they're not showing all of them again. There are 18 earthquakes here in South America. These earthquakes are on the west coast of South America. Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. Yet they're not showing them. Off the coast, out in the middle of the South Pacific, we have a large 5.1 earthquake here. This 5.1 earthquake happened at 1:27 p.m. Eastern Time today, southeast of Easter Island here. Okay? Unreal. Unreal. Let's go over here real quickly to Hawaii. I want to show you what's going on. Out here off the southeast coast of the Big Island. This is a 2.6 earthquake. Out here off the coast of the Big Island here, we have an undersea mount volcano. We have an undersea mount volcano. It's called Nalhu. N-A-A-L-E-H-U, Nalhu volcano. We have a 2.6 earthquake here. Going to the southeast coast of the Big Island here. This is a small 3.1 earthquake. Small 3.1 earthquake. This is east of Pahala. East of Pahala. There is a small town over here called Pahala. And right here we have an earthquake on the western side of Pahala. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. There's a 2.2 earthquake right here. That's just a small town called Pahala. Now over here north of there, this is a 2.2 earthquake here. Now this area here between this earthquake and this earthquake right here, this area is all considered Pahala. Okay? Why? Pahala is the gas station for the Big Island. Or should I say the molten lava station for the Big Island. Way down in the South Pacific. Way down south in the Pacific. East of Tonga, east of Samoa. Way down here in the South Pacific over here. There is a deep magma plume originating from the center of the earth here. There's a deep magma plume going to all the volcanoes around the world. When it comes to Hawaii, to the Big Island, Pahala seems to be the gas station supplying all the magma to all the volcanoes on the Big Island. Okay, that's what is happening here at Pahala. There are underground magma chambers here providing magma to all the volcanoes. That's why we have earthquakes here. Up here at Kilauea. Kilauea is still erupting here on the southwest side of the volcano. The southwest side of the volcano, right about in here. It's erupting. We're still getting earthquakes here. Okay? We're still getting earthquakes here. What you see here is the caldera. When the lava comes up in the crater and it hardens, it forms a caldera floor. That's what you see here. The white and gray areas here around the caldera are steam coming up from below the caldera floor. SO2 and CO2 steam coming from the volcano. That's what's going on. Michael McKinney is asking, Kearney is asking, is the fog noxious? Yes, it is. It's noxious. It has sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. Too much breathing with that fog, which is vapor from the volcano, can cause you to die real quick. It saps the oxygen from your body and anywhere around it, and you'll die. You'll die. Just east of Kilauea, we have this 2.1 earthquake. But not to be outdone, there are other earthquakes here on the Big Island. For example, right here. This is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake here. This is called the East Rift Zone. The East Rift Zone here on the Big Island. Northeast of here is a place called Leilani Estates here. Yesterday we had earthquakes out here in Leilani Estates. Why? Why? What is going on is that magma coming from the Big Island, from Pahala, it's extending now up here to Leilani Estates. How? Back in 2018, when Kilauea was erupting, Kilauea volcano and Pu'u'oa volcanoes drained out. All the lava from those two volcanoes drained out. And for several days, the scientists wondered what happened to the magma there. Well, guess what? The magma went out here to the East Rib Zone. 24 fissures opened up here. 24 fissures opened up. They opened up here in Fern Forest. This brownish area here is Fern Forest. Okay? When those lava fissures opened up, lava drained out of the fissures and opened up new land here. Drained out into the ocean, opened up new land here on the Big Island. To the east side, to the northeast side out here of Fern Forest up here into Leilani Estates and where this earthquake happened here. That's a 1.9, this is a 2.2. Eden Rock, Hawaii. Fissures open up here. And here you see those same sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide vapors. They're called lava plumes. Lava plumes. This is an old picture of the Big Island. When those fissures opened up, lava poured out of the fissures, and these lava plumes had sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide emitted from the fissures. That's what happened. Okay? Now those fissures have almost all cooled off enough and hardened up. The Hawaiian people named some of those fissures volcanoes because those fissures opened up craters. Craters, guys. The fissures made craters. And so those craters are named by the Hawaiian people, and they were named volcanoes now. They're now named volcanoes. Over here on the northeast side of the Big Island, you see this gray area here? Guess what? That is all new lava here. This is all new lava from the eruption of 2018. That's what happened. That's what happened. Also, people that were on tourist boats out here in the ocean watching the lava come down from the fissures had lava bombs that were lofted in the air from the fissures, and a couple of the lava bombs landed on the tourist boats, causing fires on the tourist boats that they quickly extinguished. One person was taken to the hospital because a lava bomb hit him. Molten lava hit the man on the boat, and he was injured. Suffered burns to his arm and his legs. They extinguished the fires and went back to shore. After a while, people got wise and stayed way away from the shoreline, so these lava bombs couldn't be lofted in the air and land out here on the boats. That's what happened. Now you see the steam out here, the fog out here. Lava drained out off the land out here, and when it hit the water, it steamed. 2,500 degree lava hit the cold waters of the Pacific. And it wasn't necessarily cold, but it was a lot colder than the lava. The water here is probably 75 degrees. But that hot 2,500 degree lava hit the water and formed steam out here called VOG, V-O-G. Okay? Incredible. Michael McCurney is talking about these fault lines fluctuate in temperature. Yes, they do. Some fault lines have magma beneath them. Some fault lines have magma beneath them. And yes, because that magma beneath them, the temperatures fluctuate with the earthquake faults. Absolutely. Lyle Wiley is talking about evaporated ocean water could linger in the upper atmosphere a long time. You're right. It could. And that's one of the reasons we have recurring sulfur dioxide in the high upper atmosphere. Okay? Between the volcanoes and what is happening, we're getting that happening all around the world. Okay? Michael McCurry says in the solar flares X-class getting it. Oh yeah, absolutely. The X-class flare right now is causing a radiation storm on the Earth. It's causing a geomagnetic storm out in space as well. It's interfering with our magnetosphere, which is supposed to help protect the Earth. Okay? Over here, we talked about that earthquake in the Kuril Islands. An aftershock of a 7.2, 7.4 earthquake here 2 weeks ago. A lot of earthquakes still happening here in Alaska. This is normal. There are anywhere between 32 to 65 earthquakes in Alaska every day. All over Alaska every day. Okay, I'm taking you on a tour of the Earth. I didn't expect to do that, but I took you on a tour of the Earth very briefly. Again, I came on the air today to talk to you about the stupid idiot that killed a bunch of people, killed 15 people in New Orleans, ramming them with his truck. He got in a firefight with the police, and the police shot and killed him down in New Orleans. There are at least 3 to 4 other suspects of that incident in New Orleans, and the police are now looking for them. Okay? That's what's happening there. Now, we do not know if the event in New Orleans has any relationship with the event in Las Vegas. Both those people were from the Middle East. Both those people from the Middle East. The cyber truck over in Las Vegas was carrying explosives, supposedly fireworks. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He did it on purpose. I believe both those events happened for a reason. Kenita Warrior says he woke up earlier and was watching it. I was up to 3 o'clock this morning Eastern Time, which is before the event even started in New Orleans. I was up with my family talking to them. They were in Utah. I've got family in California. I've got family in Alabama. I've got family everywhere. Michael McCurney says demonic activity, pretty much. Pretty much. Now we have another earthquake that just happened over here in the Pacific Northwest. And they just got rid of it. They just got rid of it. Those dirty bounders. That happens, guys. They showed what I believe was at least a 2.5 earthquake somewhere here in the Pacific Northwest. This earthquake that I highlighted here was that earthquake we talked about over just west of Mount Rainier earlier during our program. But they had a red hot spot up here in the Pacific Northwest, and they immediately took it down as soon as I started zooming into it. Unreal. Unreal. You guys have any questions for me? I try to provide you information about what is going on. I try to talk to you every day about everything going on so you have a good idea. To protect yourselves. These events in New Orleans and over in Las Vegas could have happened anywhere. I'm going to preface that. They could have happened anywhere, including where we live. Okay? That's the biggest reason I talk about it. It could literally happen anytime. Richard Smith is saying Hawaiian lava, mostly olivine basalt. In some cases, but there's also other lavas over there as well. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate that. Michael McCurry says you spoke of the shockwaves from Washington to Mexico. Okay? I spoke of the earthquake waves. Earthquake shock waves. Okay? Let's bring up the USGS map one more time. Okay? Again, the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to happen up here off the coast of Vancouver Island and Seattle, Washington, in this area right here. The shock waves from that earthquake occurring are going to be echoed down either or both the Cascadia subduction zone, the Juan de Fuca plate, the Juan de Fuca fault here, all the way down here through the Blanco fracture zone, the Gorda Ridge, the Gorda Escarpment, and triggering the San Andreas Fault here, all the way down through California, all the way down to northern Mexico. Chris Goldfinger spoke at an earthquake conference, a seismologist conference, in San Francisco, December 23rd, 2019. He echoed that. He said it was going to happen, that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake could trigger the San Andreas Fault, and that the shock waves would be felt all the way to northern Mexico. Chris Goldfinger, professor over at Oregon State University. Lyle Wiley is asking, Ron, do you think the Hunga Tunga Hapai eruption could be affecting our atmosphere now on the farm of VOG worldwide? If it is, it's only a small amount of VOG. Okay? That volcano erupted 2 years ago. I think for the most part, the ash and the VOG, the SO2 and CO2 emitted from that volcano, from that eruption, have probably thinned out and are no longer in existence. It might be, but I doubt it. That's a great question. That's a great question. Richard Smith is talking about 3.4 on the North Island, New Zealand. 166 kilometers deep, still a fairly shallow quake over there in the North Island, New Zealand. By the way, there was also 4.5 moderate earthquake over New Zealand earlier today. Again, USBS is not talking about it at all. They're not talking about New Zealand at all, period. There's some 17, 18 earthquakes, I believe, here in New Zealand today. And they're not showing a darn one of them. And that 4.5 should have been shown. They're showing 4.3, 4.5 elsewhere. Why are they not showing it here? Inquiring minds want to know. Okay? No, I did not cover this earthquake over in Vanuatu. This was a 5.6 earthquake that hit just before 12 midnight last night, Eastern Time. Happened at 23:39, 11:39 p.m. Eastern Time last night. A very large 5.6 earthquake. This happened out in the middle of the Pacific here. This happened south of Isango, Vanuatu. Out in the ocean. The ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. One other earthquake northwest of there also near Port Villa. This is a 4.8 earthquake. This is an aftershock of the 7.2 earthquake that hit here just over a week ago. A 4.8 earthquake here. This is 14 kilometers west-northwest of Port Villa. It's an aftershock. Nobody felt this quake because the waters of the ocean absorbed the shock waves of this quake. And I'm sure there are other earthquakes here as well. USGS is never going to show it. Not going to happen. One other earthquake near Wasfatuna here, just northeast of Fiji here. This is a 4.3 earthquake here, 4.3 moderate earthquake. Again, out in the ocean. 267 kilometers south-southeast of Wasfatuna. Okay? It's 412 kilometers deep, moderately deep. Not deep, but moderately deep. Michael McCurry says, crescent moon tonight, gorgeous Florida sky. Now, folks, I was also told by friends of mine that we had auroras as far south as Arizona last night. Auroras out in the atmosphere south all the way to Arizona. Now, he did not see the auroras out in Arizona, and I did not see them here. Yes, I didn't go out much last night after dark. That's my bad. But I'm looking out through my office window right now, and I don't see any auroras happening because of the X-class flare that hit. Okay? The shock waves from that flare, the plasma radiation causes these wonderful auroras. We're not seeing them here. So if you guys see auroras here, let me know. And take pictures if you can. I'd love to see that. Michael McCurry says his last question above will quiet down. Yeah. Beautiful crescent moon. Michael's also talking, can large earthquakes cascade with this energy? Yes. Yeah, they could. They can cause new massive earthquakes 1,000 miles away. For example, when that Cascadia megathrust earthquake happens, 9.0, 10.0 earthquake, as it goes north, it's going to affect Alaska as well. Alaska and Canada are going to shake. Alaska and Canada are going to shake. The entire continent of North America is going to shake. Promise. The entire continent of North America is going to shake. All the way to the East Coast. By the time that shaking hits the East Coast, we might be able to only maybe feel 5.0 large energy. From 10.0 on the West Coast all the way out to the East Coast, we may feel large 5.0 energy. And yes, if there's a fault line anywhere between the West Coast and the East Coast, it could trigger an earthquake on that fault line. But the whole continent is going to shake. It's going to be a megathrust earthquake. The whole continent is going to shake. And the earthquake is going to be felt south as well, all the way down to northern Mexico. And the other fault lines all the way through that area are also going to shake. Okay? Michael McCurry says, thank you, reverberations. Pretty much. Reverberations. It's going to shake all over the place. Yes, wow is right. When I've spoken to the seismologists about it, they basically said the same thing. They know it's going to happen. We all do. Robert Lazar, it's good to see you, brother. My friend Robert Lazar is here in the chat. It says 15 people now died in New Orleans. Yes, we reported that earlier. I appreciate that, Robert. Yes, we're going to keep an eye on that as well. If anything new comes up about that, we will be reporting on it. Linda Covington says she talked to her daughter not to go to New York City. She went to New Orleans instead. Bad choice. No football game either. No. They originally were going to postpone the game 24 hours. They've now postponed it till Thursday. Sometime this coming Thursday afternoon. Unreal. Richard Smith says he's on a fault in a volcano. Yeah. Nowhere to run, so I need a big boat. You might. But if that volcano erupts, the boat's not going to do too much good. If the earthquake happens and the ocean goes over the shoreline where you are, the boat might help you. Yeah. Hey guys, I want to end this program. I told my wife I'm going to fix dinner tonight, so I need to go help her. Actually, I believe she's talking to one of our kids right now. But I want to share a couple scriptures with you. I want to go over to Ezekiel in the Old Testament. I'm going to Ezekiel chapter 36. I'm going to start with verse 26. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26. Michael McCurney is asking, what happened in Vegas? Was it an arrest or an attack? It was an attack. And the guy killed himself. The guy killed himself. A man in New Orleans put up a firefight and the police killed him. Anyway, in Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26, a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes. We're going to obey the commands of the Lord, aren't we? And ye shall keep my judgments and do them. In other words, we're going to make covenants with the Lord, aren't we? He promises us something, and then we promise him we'll keep his commandments and do the things he asks us to do. Manhan, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. And in verse 28, and ye shall dwell in the land that I gave you, your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. I will also save you from your uncleanliness. I will call you, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree, and the increase of the field, that ye shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Then shall you remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations. Not for your sakes do I this, saith the Lord God. Be it known unto you, be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. We are going to know when we've done wrong, and the Lord will bless us mightily when we obey the commands of God. We make covenants with him, and he makes covenants with us. I love our Heavenly Father. I love him greatly. I love his Son, Jesus Christ. I worship them. And I ask you all to worship our Father in heaven and his Son. Prayer. Prayer can solve a bunch of iniquities. Prayer will help us. Prayer will help us if we're willing to help ourselves. Prayer will help us, guys. I promise prayer will help us. We are disciples of Jesus Christ. We need to be willing to stand out and speak up and be different from the world. We are true disciples of Jesus Christ, and we need to be willing to stand out and speak up and be different from the world. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. If anything happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I thank everybody for being here. I love you like nothing else. I love you with all my heart. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. Good night, everybody. Much love. Have fun. Bye-bye. Enjoy your new year.
As we all have seen, spring, summer, fall and into winter went by quickly. As we have seen Valentine's Day, Easter, 4th of July, Thanksgiving and Christmas wisp right on by. As we have shared throughout 2024, with you preparedness, being ready for an emergency and making you aware of earthquakes, fires and other things, that our New Year's resolution to you is that we won't stop speaking about preparedness, what to do in case of emergencies, making you aware the types of emergencies that may come along and educate you on earthquakes, events and happenings so you can stay prepared. We also want you to think about this and other things too. When you think kid-friendly holiday, New Year's Eve probably isn't the first thing that springs to mind. But just because the kids might not last long enough to see the ball drop, doesn't mean they can't participate. In fact, New Year's Eve is a great time to come together and set some family goals for the upcoming year. Have you planned on your New Year's resolution? Goals? Think about it. What New Year's resolutions will your family be making for 2025? Personal improvement or happiness, fantastic goals to strive for. Even, to ushering in a new era of personal protection and improving home safety. You could also make a resolution of many other things, including with spirituality, emotional changes and consciousness decisions. With this, we Art Emergency Management Associates are here for you with our own New Year's resolution. Continuing to prepare people for coming emergencies and disasters, continuing to help save lives, continuing to educate everyone on earthquakes and other disaster events that may arise, continuing to minister to many about Jesus Christ with the Bible and more. We are here for you, and wish your family a happy New Year's with love, warmth and goals for 2025.